What's up guys, Damian Keyes here, welcome back to the channel. So this week I asked you, how much money do you spend on promoting your music and social media online? And it was very interesting because while there were several people who said, nothing, I don't spend anything, it's all organic promotion. Some people said, I don't, but it is something I'd like to look into. But most people who said that they do spend money on Facebook or Instagram advertising were spending an average of $1 or £1 a day. And lots of people who were spending more than that were saying up to 50 a month. Let's face it, even that is less than $2 a day. How much traction can you actually get with £1 or £2 or $1 or $2 in a 24-hour period to promote your music? I mean, Facebook's cheap and Facebook's good, but is it that good? So today, we are going to go through the best way of spending your $30 to $50 per month to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to promoting your music.
Nice.
Now, whilst I'm assuming you can't afford to put thousands or even millions into your budget when it comes to Facebook advertising, there are companies that do. Think about someone like Rolls-Royce that might put 10 million into advertising their cars. And even they are pretty small fry compared to some companies who are spending up to $1 billion on advertising what they want you to see. So $1 or even $10 is not a lot of money. So we need to be smart when it comes to our strategy for spending the money. Now, this is a really interesting question because now with a low budget, there's no room for testing, which Facebook very much rely on. There's no room for machine learning. That means that Facebook is basically taking in this information, you're feeding it money so it can put stuff out there, so it can learn more and find the exact right people for you, which is why when you make Facebook campaigns, usually you will see the budgets carry on, but the amount of cost per lead or the amount of cost per click tends to go down over a period of time. The other thing is you can't make multi-content strategy. You can't say, I'm going to run this video and this video and this video because we can't split it. $1 or £1 a day is the smallest amount that Facebook will allow you to spend when it comes to advertising. So firstly, what is it that we are trying to achieve with this money? Because many bands are trying to get people to go straight across to Spotify. But if you think about that, especially with small budgets, to get people to hear 15 seconds of your music, maybe with a video, and then expecting them to swipe across to Spotify, to maybe put that song into a playlist, to hit the follow button, to hit the like or the save button, then come back into your Instagram and say, oh, I'm so glad you've arrived, I'm now a fan. All for the sake of one 15-second piece of music. Now, maybe if you've got huge budgets, it's worth it. But if you don't, it's not. And you might have noticed that when you're trying to do that, you're not seeing the correlation between how many people are being sent on your Facebook or Instagram ads and how many people are actually listening to the music on your Spotify for Artists. Well, that could well be because you do need to listen to 30 seconds of a piece of music before Spotify registers that play. So you're spending a lot of money trying to do that. So we need to be clever. We need to be smarter. Now, when you go and set up your ads, Facebook will ask you what sort of campaign you want to set up. And the three we are concerned with are brand awareness campaigns, video views, and traffic campaigns. Now, there are others within Facebook, but these are the three I want to talk about. And there's a reason for that. Because brand awareness and video views do a very similar thing. They keep people on the platform. So therefore, you're scrolling through Facebook or you're scrolling through Instagram, it comes to your piece of content, your sponsored ad, and there's nothing for me to do except watch, take it in. I see the name, I listen to the music, I see the visuals, and I go, okay. And after time, if I keep seeing this or other pieces of content of yours, I start going, oh yeah, I know that song, I like that song. After a few times, I'm more likely to then go into your Instagram or into your Facebook or potentially go searching for you. And then once we've built up this brand awareness or video views campaign, at which point then at some point we can run a traffic campaign to say, now I'm taking you off Spotify, I'm taking you off Instagram to send you to Spotify. Now, the issue with this is if you're prepared to keep people on the platform, Facebook says, okay, well, that's not going to be too expensive because they're going to stay on Facebook for longer and therefore they're going to carry on with their day on the same platform. But if you say, no, I want to take you off Facebook, off Instagram, and send you to Spotify, then Facebook goes, yeah, I can do that, but then they're going to be off Facebook and they might not come back. So that's going to cost you more money. So when we've got small budgets, we're trying to keep people on Facebook, on Instagram. So therefore, a brand awareness or a video views campaign, you will get more bang for your buck. Now, with this kind of campaign, you are not sending people away. You are bringing people in. I think this is a much stronger strategy, especially when you've got low budgets. But when you do this, there's something that you need to do before you do any advertising, and that is get your party right. Social media is a party, and if you think about it, you're throwing a party, so therefore you need to be prepared for when people come in. You need to move the furniture, you need to get the alcohol, you need to decide on the lighting, you need to make sure you've got some good music playing so that when someone comes in and sticks their head around the door and goes, is this a party for me? They go, hey, this looks pretty cool. And if nothing that is there and they can't see anything when they stick their head around the door, they're gone straight away. So we have to make the party good. The way you do that is great content. We've got to make sure that we're consistent. We've got to make sure that we're telling stories. In Instagram, you want 5+ stories a day, as well as something on the feed every couple of days. You want stuff in your highlights. You want to have a really, really good bio. You want to have a really good picture. You want to sum this up as a party. This is not just you promoting your music. This is a party for everyone who's into the same stuff as you and your music. Now, people keep hearing your music because they're seeing that video on maybe the Instagram story and they think, maybe I will go and check this out. And they go into your Instagram and they see something and they go, this is really good, and they're more likely to follow. Or more likely than that, they see your picture, they see your video and they think, this is a bit of me, and they click that like button. Now, what does that actually mean? It means they've just started a conversation, even if they don't know. Now, this is where your strategy comes into play. Because instead of trying to get people across to follow you on Spotify, what you're actually doing is you're trying to get people to hit that like button. And as soon as they hit that like button, you know, because you can go and find out who's liked, and then you can click on their profile and you can start that conversation. You can start a conversation like, hey, we're into the same music. I love that. Thank you so much for liking my picture. And start that conversation. You're using one like as an opportunity to then start networking with people that can build a relationship from audience into fan. Now, if you're going to do this, there is one thing that you need to do above everything else, and that is hyper-targeting. I know that's a really wanky word, but hyper-targeting means you can't just throw this out to anybody because you can't afford that. So you're not trying to throw this out to 1 million people. You are trying to really get this target right. And the way you do that is when you're going into your detailed interests, you are clicking the narrow button. So let me explain. Let's say you put out a video and you say, I want everyone who likes us, they need to like Eminem. So he goes, great, there's 1 million people who like Eminem. And you go, oh, that's fantastic. The problem is that's over the last 20 years. There's loads of people that have liked Eminem that probably don't like him anymore, or potentially might have seen him once and gone, he seems cool and like it, but they're not really a true fan. So you want to really get this down. So therefore, out of that 1 million, what you do then is you click narrow the audience, and then you put in someone like Machine Gun Kelly. Now, Eminem fans don't like Machine Gun Kelly, and Machine Gun Kelly fans don't like Eminem. But in the Venn diagram of all of the people who like Machine Gun Kelly and all of the people who like Eminem, there's a very small section here who like both. Now, that's a very small number in comparison, both of them put together. Might be 1 million and 1 million, and it might be 100,000 or 200,000 who like both. Now, that is the people that you are targeting, because now you are hyper-targeting. You are not trying to get in front of 1 million people because you only got $1. So therefore, you're trying to get in front of maybe 100,000 or 150,000 max, because then you know you're really taking those millions down to thousands, but those thousands They're hyper-targeted. Now, when it comes to targeting your audience, I know that most people advertising are not doing this right. Do you know why I know that? It's because my Instagram is full of two things: musicians, obviously, and puppies, because I like looking at pictures of puppies, and every time I see a picture of a puppy, I click it, so Instagram thinks I want to see more pictures of puppies, which, let's face it, I do. But when I'm going through stories, every fourth story or third story, I'm seeing a sponsored ad from a band or an artist. 90% of the time, I should not be seeing this. I am not in the right age group, and I do not like the type of music that you are trying to target. But for some reason, I'm seeing it, which means people like me are seeing it. This means you did your job wrong. I should not be seeing something that I do not want to see. And you don't want to show something to someone that they do not want to see. So your job is to make sure that everyone who sees it likes it. Now, there's a couple of other technical things that you could do. You could potentially lower the cap on what you bid on a manual bid. But this gets really complicated, and you've got to be very, very careful, because if you take your manual bid and you place it as at 1 or 2 pence or cents per click, then Facebook can't do its job right. So you need to keep that above, say, 20 cents or 20 pence. Now we're getting technical. Now you need to know the ins and outs of Facebook advertising. So I'd be very, very careful. And I think the strategy is much, much simpler than that. I think it's one of two things. Either you drip feed your ads $1 a day, or $1.50, $2, £2 a day, so you can use up your 30 to 50. But I would do that as a lifetime spend, not a daily spend. You say the lifetime spend is $50 over a month, and that way you're allowing Facebook and Instagram to do its job, to learn, to figure out when the best times are to the best people. Now, it's not a lot of money, but Facebook will do its best to do that job. Now, you can drip feed it like that, and then every time someone sees it, your job is to get in there and start conversation. Or the other thing to do is you could potentially take 1, 2, or 3 pieces of content, and you could do a short, sharp shock where you say 3 pieces of content, £10, $10 in boosting that lifetime budget, and I'm going to do it to that audience for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So it's just like $10 for a couple of days, $10 into that for a couple of days, $10 into that for a couple of days. Now, because you are not using a lot of budget, it might be worth you looking at the boost button rather than the ads button, rather than going into a lot of detail. If you were utilizing hundreds or even thousands, you need to know Facebook ads. But if you're whacking a tenner in, you could do a boost instead. It's not going to be as good as ads, but I'm not against it. But my main strategy is it's about utilizing what people do when they see it and they like it. Not just people who engage and comment, but people who click that like button. You know who they are, and it allows you to start that conversation. Now, this is how you're going to get people into your Instagram and start that conversation, bringing them from someone who's never seen you to someone who has seen you, to someone who's an audience member, to someone who becomes a fan. And from there, potentially, you could monetize them when you are touring around near them, or potentially with some merch or something else. You can see that is a strategy that works at a very low cost level. And so therefore, we've got to be clever with the small amounts of money, but it can be done. So as you can see, it is absolutely feasible for you to advertise strategically and well for just $1 or £1 a day. But here's something, and I might be letting myself in for an absolute nightmare, but give me your best Facebook or Instagram advertising questions, and I will do my best to answer them. If you've got a question on Facebook or Instagram, then get it in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. But other than that, if you can do me a massive favor, if you can like, subscribe, more importantly, come and be a part of this community, because I'm so proud of what we're building, and more importantly, watching what you guys are creating. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys soon.